Alright, folks. I have no first time doing live on YouTube, so let's see. Cool. Hey, folks. I am just starting. I've thrown 10 mugs to end up being beach balls, and right now I am getting ready to make handles and beach ball emblems for the mugs. So probably won't talk much. I'm barely seeing comments. I just saw somebody. So hello, whoever you are. I am making handles for some beach ball mugs. Let's see if I can't play. What does that do? Nah. Cool. I didn't catch her name, but hold on. There we are. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna sit here for a second. Someone was asking, I'll probably do some throwing stuff, some videos, or maybe do some live sometime. Right now, it's basically all gonna be hand built. Oh, it's Michelle Dickey. Hey. Yeah, that's that bubble insulation. I've had it up there, what, about 13 years? I'm gonna hit some buttons so I may mess up. I'm trying to get rid of something that's down here. There we go. Michelle, one thing who I really like, I've been throwing for, oh, this is my 29th, so it's almost 30 years. Someone really good to watch, Jessica Putnam Phillips. She does clay share, and I really like her. I mean, I learn a lot from her, even though I know how to throw, so, but. Today I'll show you how to cheat on handles though. I had a hole in this bag, so I'm just putting it in another bag. Ooh. This clay came with a hole in it. This bag did. So, woo, I'm glad I found it. Yeah, me too. Handles take a while. Yeah, I'm pretty, I'm pretty particular. So I found it's easier for me to extrude the handles. That way I don't waste my time pulling them. Now for big platters and stuff like that, I most likely will pull them. got to clean this dye out. That should be tied up. If anyone cares, this block goes on top of whatever I put in there because that's where my handle, it stops there. So this clay is always wasted basically, so instead of wasting my clay, I use this block over and over. Alright, this is gonna sound bad. I have figured out something I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix. I'm always listening to music or audiobooks. So if I'm just puttering around and doing a live, I'm gonna start missing my music. So I gotta figure out how to have music. Without having to pay for it, you know what I mean? here we go. That's it. One thing about clay I've learned that you constantly clean up after yourself right then. So hopefully that's what you see me doing. If it dry clay is horrible for you. So. Let me see something. Yes, they do make one like a caulk gun. Have I tried what? No, I have not tried the bag thing. I think what you're talking about. If I put it, I don't really have a problem with it not being clean. As long as I don't leave clay in there. Now I'll clean out the base because I had clay coming out of the dye. So the next time I use it, I have to clean the base out. But I haven't. And you were saying that like the caulk guns, the gun extruders. I almost want one just because sometimes I just need a little bit. Or I don't want to make a bunch and then have to worry about them drying out too quick. Oh yeah, I will. Right now, I'm cutting them like about 6.5, and then I'll trim them down depending on what the mug needs. Two, four, six, 10. I only need 10 because I do sets of 10 or 12 at a time. So I'm going to double wrap the leftovers. I won't bend them until I'm ready to get them to dry. Hope that makes sense. All right, let's see. I'm moving. good? Okay, that should be, I think that's as close as I can get without being weird. Now, to me, this is super easy. So all I'm doing is I'm getting a start of the shape that I want. And then when I get ready to apply it to the mug, I finish the shape. So I kind of do a C, I mean an ear, almost like a D almost. Just like those. So that's more of an ear, where a lot of times I do more like a C or a D. It's more like a D though, if you know what I'm talking about. And I've learned not to don't worry too much when it comes to this part. You just want it in a relative shape that you're going to be working in. That's it. I mean, they're not all the same, but only have, and this is one thing that I normally don't do. Normally, that's why I kept counting. I have 11. If I'm doing 10, I'm going to have 11 for a backup. Let's see, what'd you just say? They are a, I threw six last night, and then I just threw 4. So by the time I get the first 6 done, the 4 that I just threw today will be ready. They're about they're leather hard, but on the slight softer side. So I can still distort it if I push too hard, but not enough to really warp the rim too much. If that makes sense. So, and I'm basically going to air these out a little bit. It'll only take, by the time I get done making the decals, these should be ready. And I'll keep checking them to make sure they're not too dry. Actually, I gotta put these where the air won't blow on them. Alright. So now for decals. I'm glad I found this clay bag dry. I mean, it's had a big old hole in the bottom of it, so I would never want to throw with it. Now I have a big slab roller, but this isn't, it's not worth, I don't think it's worth using for this actually. So these are 1/4 inch dowels. And so with the cookie cutter I'm about to use, I know I have to have the 1/4 inch. I usually like to go thinner on the decals or let me see if I missed something. Well, I'm gonna have to adjust my settings on my chat, because as soon as you say something, Michelle, it goes away. So I basically sandwiched this in between plastic wrap. And the reason I sandwich it is when I go to press it out, even though I'm lifting the slab up off the wood, it's still going to end up sticking because I'm pushing that hard to get the impression in. So with the plastic wrap, I can pull, I don't have to destroy it coming off the wood. And Michelle, if you're still there, thanks for watching. Even if it's just for a minute, that matter, that's kind of cool. I didn't advertise this. I'm just testing to see see what I need to fix to actually, and see if the sound works and all that. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. What do we got? Oh, that's perfect. That, you know, actually, Michelle, that's what I was thinking. See? I do the same thing. Who do I do all the time? I love it. Matthew Kelly. He's really cool to watch. John the Potter. There's a lady out of Australia. I really, really like her. Cool. These are going to be kind of thick. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. Cool, I got an extra. That's good. Let's see. I think I caught that. My niece is like that. She always has a video. She's got to have visual stimulation and sound. And she can talk to you at the same time and know what's going on. I have no idea how she does that. how do I get the chats to stay? Oh, audiobooks. I love Audible. Ugh. As long as the commentators or the people, actors, or whatever you call those folks, as long as they're good and the book's good, you're awesome. You're set. Well, I've been selling pots as long as I've been making them. I started in '94. I think it was 1994. And I do a lot of, and then I did a lot of sculpture, a lot of tile work. So I hit on that. I was too good for functional pots. So in the last, but I was good at it. I mean, I could throw. But the last 3 years, I've really jumped back into throwing pottery, making functional ware. To give you an idea, when I finished college, I had probably only did 4 handles my entire time, and I had to focus in pottery and ceramic sculpture. So, but 4 handles total because I had to. And I learned how to do it, so I practiced, but I had 4 finished pieces with. So, and I only made 3 of those were for mugs, and the other one was a pitcher, and my mom still had it. Um, and so now I didn't make any more handles until about 3 years ago. But I sell word of mouth, social media. I do have an Etsy, but luckily I'm selling before I can actually even list on Etsy. Tile work, like ceramic tile, backsplashes, but thick. Like we're talking about big walls and like murals of that nature. So, um, ouch. What else was I gonna say on that? Oh, so I've got a website, but I haven't had it. I need to get it all finished so then I can get off of Etsy. But basically, I've just been selling word of mouth. I've gotten offers for a couple of retail shops, but I don't want to share the money yet. Yeah, cool. Thank you. I don't want to share yet. I'm not there in that tax bracket or that pricing range yet. The quality's there, I think, but I just don't think the market's there. So, and I'm not a big production potter. Like I said, I only do sets of 10. Like, got 10 mugs, 10 these, and then once this is done, if I have time tonight, which I probably won't, it takes me a long time to put on hand, to do handles. Um, I'm real meticulous, and they don't come off though. But what was I trying to say? Anyway, so I'm just riding the waves as I can. And so right now, basically what I'm making are these. So Pcola Beach ball mugs. Michelle, I don't know where you're from, but this is Pcola Beach. We have a water tower on the beach that is painted like a beach ball. So it's kind of like an icon. So I made 10 of these, and I have 62 more to go because I cut the limit off at 6 dozen mugs, and these are all due July 1st. So, yep. Yeah. I mean, you make what you want, but some things I can do fast, but these I can't do fast, and I don't want to get too fast. It's just different. My kiln is only so big, um, and I'm also spoiled. I want to make what I like to make, and this is kind of pushing the line. I mean, I like it because it makes people happy and it gets the word out. People enjoy it. I like the monotony of making these. Um, But I also too, I I'll take pre-orders, but I don't take any money until the work is ready and they come and look at it. Iowa? Oh, haven't been to Iowa yet. Here, I'm going to turn this for a second. I don't know what you're going to end up seeing. Let's see. Yeah. I think Pensacola, some people, tourists will pay money for it, but I don't want to get in that price range yet. Yeah. You know, is John the Potter. I've seen the mugs before with the state, but when I saw a couple years ago John the Potter doing his, where's he from? Minnesota? I went, whoop. And so being on the beach, and I use B-Mix clay from Laguna, and that fires without glaze on it looks just like our sands on our beach. So I was like, sold. So I got Florida mugs that I do too. But right now I'm doing nothing but the like I said, 6 dozen in a month. So all I'm making right now is the mugs, which is okay. I mean, I'm happy. So when the word of mouth, when this kind of slows down, then I'll work. I really want to do a gallery show where I have a mix of art and crazy vases. I do like throwing vases. And I like making weird boxes, weird things like Tonka truck kind of box form things. One day you might be able to see it. All right, I'm going to turn you right back around. There we go. I'm reading something on my screen. I don't know what it. Okay. I hit a button, so all the chats up there. I guess that's cool. Actually, no. I'm doing this full time. I'm lucky enough to do this full time right now. I tried. This is probably my third studio I've had myself. Um, but no, right now, I've I've always played in clay while I was working full time. Um, I bartended and waited tables for a lot of years, did management, and then worked for some nonprofits. So I had real jobs, but the goal was always to get to do this. So, and actually, I don't think I'm glad I waited. Like, I wouldn't want to be 28 or 24 years old, 23, 24, trying to start my own business per se. I'm glad I'm 48 and doing it because I had that luxury. But I actually enjoy it more. I think I wanted to play a little bit too much in my 20s and into my 30s. So. These medallions, though, they're going to be kind of big. Hmm. Oh, awesome. Oh, I just learned something, Michelle. How to get chats to pop back up. Yeah, I don't know about the pricing of B mix. Yeah, I had to raise the prices of, even though I think like 30 bucks for those beach ball mugs to me is kind of cheap. Um, but it's kind of where our market is or where I want to be. Um, I just added in, I guess. But I love B mix. It is like, I mean, I made my own clay, did all that kind of stuff. It is the smoothest clay ever. What do you use besides B mix? Gotcha. 48. I like 48. Okay. I'm playing with all the little gadgets here. Uh, Cool. And right now I'm just kind of waiting for things to dry. All right, those are going to be ready soon. Well, if you're wondering, I am fixing to get ready to set up the station where I put the handles and the decals on. Alright, what else do I need? I've heard good things about Minnesota clay. And then in B clay. Yeah, okay. So it's still kind of like that porcelain body mix, which it's like butter. I mean, I'm addicted. I'll use almost anything. Like I was using B mix with grog. Our problem was that we couldn't get it in. So I was using speckled and with grog, which ate my hands up. But, meh. Yeah, doing test tiles, I could. You have to have them, but then at the same time, you know what I started doing? Unless it's a brand new glaze, I just started making. I would take mugs or small vases, and that's my new testers now. I'm lucky enough. My studio, It is behind the house, and it's a 20 by 20. It used to be an old garage. We live like our house is like 140 years old, um, and now the garage is probably 75 to about 75 years old. But it got doinked in one of the hurricanes, so I took it over and basically just dried it in. I've got redneck plumbing. In other words, I got because it's clay. I'm using buckets by the sink. But I do have a drain that goes outside in a big hole with gravel in it underneath the ground. So I try not to use that unless I have to. I'm grateful. It's it. I'm glad of the size for what I'm doing currently. I could do more work if I had a studio twice as big. So it's a blessing that it's only this big. So it limits me from overproducing. Plus my kiln is, I don't know, it's pretty decent. I'll spin you around if you're looking now. It's a mess. So let's see, what are you seeing? Yeah, that's L&L. So, which I love. So my kiln's this big. And those are what I threw this morning. So they're still wet. So yeah, you can see all my trashy studio. There we go. Have you noticed that the B mix or that it takes longer to dry? Gets on my nerve. Um, the last 2 months I've been using the B mix with grog, and it because of that little bit of grog in it, it dries faster. Plus, I can pull. I mean, I can work faster with it because it's got that extra grog. But it doesn't. It's just not the B mix. I am about to take a break for a minute. Oh, about the test tiles, and you're making new ones. If there, I guess it depends on as long as you're not having any problems with your glazes sticking to the new clay. You know, because I had that problem with standard, and I use a lot of clayscapes and Mako. As long as you don't have problems with it, you know, sticking to, you know, if you, yeah. In other words, I guess I'm rambling, but in other words, I wouldn't make new test tiles unless you just had, just really, really had to. I wish my kiln was outside the studio. I mean, I can still run it and my air conditioner, but once you get past quartz inversion, it is too hot up in here. You know, if you hand build anything with, well, I'll say this. I how I learned was so different than how it is now. There wasn't a lot of electric firing. Electric firing is really just for bisking. Um, and I fired everything, went to cone 10, and it was gas firing. And then we started, and then sculpturally, I would do a gas firing but cone 6. And then after, and that was all with big large pieces. And now with the smaller pieces that I would, then with the smaller sculptures I was making, I was doing gas firing. But when I started going back to the functional pottery, I had a rude awakening with the clay not being vitrified. So that's when, so it's about 3 years ago I started using B-Mix, because it would vitrify. That was the one I grabbed. It would vitrify at 6. And I fell in love with it. I do like it with grog. I find it's better with hand building, but what else is there? But I like the elasticity of the V-Mix. I tend to throw really thin, which is bad for these mugs, but that I'm making right now. But with B-Mix, I can definitely throw thin. Oh, thank you on the setup. And like I said, I wish I was using. Oh, the only problem I had with standard is the clay I was using was I would use their raku, because I would do quite a bit of horsehair and raku stuff. And they're, I don't know, what was it, white? Well, let's see. They're is it 539? They're white stoneware. 539, I think. It's rated at, what I was using was rated between cone 6 and cone 10. Well, it doesn't vitrify until cone 10. So everything I was making at cone 6 firing was leaking. Just like this. Can you see? It's all that crazing on there, if you can see it. But I'll show you the bottom. See that? That's coffee. I love me some coffee, and that's what happened. So yeah, make sure the last number, like if it says cone this to this, make sure that last number is the cone that you fire to, or adapt. Like I can do 10 in my kiln, but I'd rather do 6. I had to learn all of that. And then brand new glazes, electric. We made our own, electric glazes for an electric kiln. You know, I was making my own glazes, so I'm good. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. So, and like this was good. This is pretty fun too. I'm glad I got to meet you. I am going to take 10 minutes, use the bathroom and all that. So if you hang out, that's cool. If not, I'm just going to leave it running, I think, as far as the live goes. An hour and 30 minutes I've been on? Wow. That's what happens when I get in the studio. I blink and it's time to feed the dogs. Ooh, you got old school. They work, but that means you definitely, I'll never go back if I don't have to with a kiln sitter. And thank God, a lot of time I kept journals and notes all through the years, especially in college with all the different firings and tests. And I'm glad I did because I have one tester kiln that is that has a kiln sitter on it. But my kiln now is digital, and I wouldn't go any other way. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Oh, that's so funny. Huh. Okay, I just saw that. Huh, that's something I wouldn't know about because my kilns have always been inside. Huh, I could see that happening, I guess, because everything gets too hot. Now, I did, yeah, in Florida here, even though we do get, it's a weird cold, um, and it's super hot in the summer, but it's very humid. I think with my air conditioner, believe it or not, because it's on, I've got really good electric in the studio. I can run both. I never have a problem with it cutting off. And my times stay the same. I still keep a kiln log. And keep good. Every time I check on it, I write down the time and what's happening. But I've been lucky so far. Knock on wood. All right, I am taking that break. Actually, Michelle, thanks for playing with me. I am going to cut this off and then put it back on when I turn it back on whenever I'm actually doing the handles and the decals. Because I got a feeling I got another 30 minutes. Not to use an air conditioner or fan because of the clay dust, so I don't use either, but I need to so badly. I get that, yes and no. One, she lives in Vermont. Um, like right now, it's kind of blowing throughout, but everything, all my clay that's exposed is wet, so it doesn't bother me. I just have to make sure that my clay's not drying out too bad. And like the 4 mugs that I threw this morning, I'm like I'll walk over there and then I turn them a quarter of a turn. But I don't ever have air blowing in here per se. If I have a fan, like when the kiln's going and I'm still working in here and it's getting kind of warm, or even whenever the kiln is, I'm not in here, I open the window and I have a fan that's pulling the air out of the house, out of the studio outside. So it's sitting right in front of the window, blowing the air out the window, if that makes sense. I've learned all the clay that I can it is. I don't really have a dry clay hanging around unless it's greenware waiting to get fired. If that makes sense. Everything's wet, and I wet clean. So I'm So in other words, I just don't let the clay build up. I don't let the dust really build up. You're going to have dust no matter what, but I just don't let it build up, and I wipe it off with sponges. Um, and then once I wipe everything down, then I will sweep the floor. Um, but I don't kick it up. I do, small strokes, if that makes any sense. So I'm aware of it. I did learn from Jessica too that how she mixes the Clayscapes glazes that come in the bag. I don't know if you've caught that, but that is genius. And so I mix all of my pre-done glazes that way because I dip. I don't do. I'm trying to learn how to do the paint, to do the brush on. I'm not really good at it. It takes me too long. But I'll keep practicing to get better at it. But I'm not. I never put enough coats on. But um, anyway, that if I know I'm going to be doing when I something dusty like the kiln shelves when I'm grinding or sanding the kiln shelves down, it's outside. I have a respirator, so when I need to, I will. But this normal working, no, I just wet sponge and in buckets and rinse it out. And a couple times a day, or at least once a day, I'm emptying. I have a couple spots in the yard where I empty my buckets. So that keeps me good. Um, and I just had a scan on my lungs, and the damage I do to my lungs is definitely not from the clay right now. So I think it's good to be aware of it, but I wouldn't freak out about it. Well, just try not to make so much dust, I guess, that last comment. Like I said, I just clean. You don't want it to dry out. So, and I don't like scraps. So I tried to, I think you might have saw me. I'm combining my scraps always. My wool thrown scraps are now with what was left over that I extruded. So, and I keep it double wrapped. I'm going to get some dust, but I really don't have a lot of dust. Cool. Awesome. Hopefully I catch you later. Bye. I got to figure out how to stop. There we go.